Even small things should bring joy. So I would like to share with you that I won a small painting contest for January at Titan Forge for painting a hypoglyph. The link to the recording should appear at the top of the screen. Today we will paint a lizard, because I love painting green skin and always look for new ways to improve my painting techniques. You will find the link to the miniature in the description down below. So grab your paints, brushes, and let's start. I started by pre-highlighting the miniature with white ink, because it establishes very bright areas on the model from the start. This allows me the application of thin, translucent color layers on top. Due to this, the colors will appear more vibrant and luminous compared to applying the same color directly over a darker base coat. Using an airbrush, I focused on the muscle areas to create nice, deep shadows that will benefit the overall painting process. For the main flesh color, I used a greenish yellow color, in this case Forest Sprite. This gave me a perfect start to highlighting the skin with brighter yellow colors that contain a lot of yellow pigment. Being aware of the potential of overspraying with the airbrush, I made sure to paint some of the smaller, more intricate areas with a regular brush, to avoid having to repair them later on. To create the first highlight on the flesh areas, I used a Scorpina green, which is a very vibrant green shade. I reduced the sprayed areas to allow the highlight to stand out on the top of the body, creating a nice contrast. For the final highlight on the body, I used bile green, which contains a lot of yellow pigment, but it has a great opacity and coverage. This will create for us nice light reflections on the most raised parts of the body, like shoulders, chest, muscles and tail. This helped to further accentuate the form and volume of the miniature. To add depth and break the monotony of black shadows, I sprayed a vibrant blue-green shade, in this case Caribbean Ocean, from below the miniature. This gave the model a nice bluish green shadow tone, keeping it within the correct color spectrum, and because of the green pigment, It will blend with our previous colors perfectly. To break the monotony of green flesh, I used a pinkish peach color for the belly. In this case, peachy flesh from Army Painter. This would be the starting point for further highlights. Since this color is quite transparent, I applied multiple thin layers to build up the desired coverage and blend it with the black deep shadows to receive better transitions. To highlight the belly muscles, I sprayed Vallejo sand pesh with the airbrush. I thinned the paint with a couple of drops of airbrush thinner to achieve the right consistency and avoid overspraying on the green elements. The lizard has some scales on its legs, chest and back, and I didn't want to simply paint them black or brown. I also wanted to benefit from the pre-highlighting stage to save time. That's why I used Army Painter Green Black as a base color on all scales, setting the stage for further interesting color transitions. To pre-highlight the recesses between the scales, I thinned down Winsor & Newton white with some mineral spirit and poured it into all recesses around the scales. This will give me the advantage of painting a strong, vibrant color on top of it. After letting it settle for 30 minutes, I wiped away the excess with some cosmetic pads. Building on the pre-highlighting, I heavily diluted light sea blue with water and poured it onto the white areas around the scales. The idea was to create the effect of the scales emitting some kind of energy. The feathers were painted with Army Painter Familia Pink, a heavily transparent color. It's not that vibrant that I thought it would be, but it's a good starting point for further highlights. I used 3 thin layers to achieve the desired coverage, letting the paint dry between each application to avoid blurring the previous layer. To simulate light reflections on the feather, I sprayed Warlord Purple as the first highlight. Probably one of my favorite colors. And it's rare that there is no difference between the air range and the normal acrylic. I experimented with spraying the color from different angles to accentuate the feather details. I created a mixture of Vallejo white ink and Vallejo light sea blue, heavily diluting it with water. It was used to highlight the areas around the scales, further emphasizing the effect of the scales emitting energy. I gradually added more white to the mix until I was satisfied with the result. For the gold elements, I used Army Painter Sand Golem as the main base color. This gave me the advantage to skip two shades of colors which I normally use for painting non-metallic metal gold, the brown red and ochre brown. In my opinion, this is currently the best base color for non-metallic metal gold, providing a solid ochre yellow-brown foundation. Vallejo Golden Yellow is the first highlight on all gold areas. I can't tell you the exact proportions of paint to water ratio for highlighting because it's always a matter of preferences. You could see how I'm doing it on my wet palette. What you can do to dilute your paints is just try different proportions. You will find them sooner or later. Trying by doing is the advice here. To further simulate light reflections on all gold elements, I used Ice Yellow as the next highlight. Again, I adjusted the paint to water ratio to achieve the desired result. Like in the previous step, you could see my glaze for highlighting. I hope this helped you to find the perfect ratio. If the previous gold colors were too pale, I used Vallejo ink yellow to give the gold a nice, strong gold tone. This ink also helped to blend the colors together for a smoother transition, but I made sure to thin it down to maintain control over the color. I painted the flesh areas around the lizard's mouth with a reddish-brown color, in this case Cadian flesh tone. This helped me boost the greens and give me a more natural look. For the recesses within the mouth, I applied Vallejo Scarlet Blood, which perfectly cooperates with the reddish-brown that I applied earlier. This darker shade added depth and definition, making the mouth details more pronounced and realistic. Using Vallejo's Quick Pink, Warlord Purple and Citadel Full Green Pink, I enhanced the feather's appearance in 3 stages. First, I applied Vallejo's Quick Pink with near brush to create light reflections. Then I meticulously painted additional details with the Warlord Purple to add depth and realism. Finally, I used Full Green Pink to further highlight and refine the feathers, focusing on enhancing their natural textures and details. For the base, I used the same design as in my previous video. You can check the details in the link that will appear on the screen. To add some visual interest to the base, I splashed some atom colors on the tufts that I have glued down. This is a great way to add variety without having to invest in pre-colored tufts. If you liked this one, don't forget to comment down below, like the recording, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you the next time. Bye bye!